Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. Deer species in the province are more active during the fall months during their reproductive season, leading to a higher risk of wildlife-related vehicle collisions. But it's not just the reproductive season that makes collisions more likely. Deer species are most active at dusk and dawn. And as the days get shorter, there's more wildlife activity earlier in the evening. The Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation is encouraging drivers to take extra precautions on the road.
Travel earlier in the day when you have some more light. The other option would be if you have to travel at that time, slow down, use your headlights, make sure you're looking along the roadways. If you do see an animal cross, deer, for example, chances are there's going to be others that will follow.
More than 9,000 wildlife-related collisions in the province in 2024. The Saskatchewan Health Authority says while it's stopping the use of the AIMS computer system for employee scheduling, the system is still proving effective in other areas. AIMS, the Administrative Information Management System, was designed to replace about 80 old programs with one platform for supply chain, payroll, and scheduling across the health system. But the SHA announced yesterday it's switching back to its old scheduling system after ongoing problems with AIMS. It says despite the setback, many features of the system remain stable, but some healthcare workers say there's still issues with supply orders.
When something is not in stock and my unit orders it and the supply chain doesn't have it, there is no, it disappears off the system. So when they do get that in stock and my unit still needs that, or I still need that as a worker, it doesn't show up that I ever ordered it.
As we've pulled back from this time validation and scheduling piece, that means there's more resources on the AIMS team to address other issues that may come up in the system more quickly.
As of August, the total cost of the AIMS system has reached $272 million. The Saskatchewan Health Authority is introducing a new notification process for emergency services disruptions. The updated process is meant to provide accurate, reliable information about the availability of emergency services around the province. Beginning in early November, all emergency service disruptions, regardless of length, will be posted on the SHA website, updated at 4 p.m. 7 days a week. The current system only notifies the public about disruptions of 7 days or more. The SHA says it acknowledges the frustration from patients and communities about the current reporting process. It hopes the changes will make information consistently available to the public, while services affected by disruptions can be restored. Premier Scott Moe is urging Ottawa to pressure the Indian government after it dropped new tariffs on yellow peas, saying the move threatens a key market for Saskatchewan producers. In a letter to the Federal Minister of Agriculture and Minister of International Trade, Moe calling India's tariff announcement very concerning. He expressed the need for Saskatchewan producers and exporters to have certainty as the province still deals with Chinese tariffs on canola products. Collectively, the Indian and Chinese markets made up 71% of Saskatchewan's pea exports last year, with $480 million shipped to India.
It wasn't long ago we actually had been talking to the High Commissioner of India and hadn't really given an indication. However, we have seen this before, so this is not entirely new to us, to the pea industry, to Canada. You know, there's a number of issues at play with the Indian government there, so unfortunately we have dealt with this before.
Members of the Ministry of Trade and Export Development will be in India next week. The tariffs come as harvest in the province is nearly complete, with 99% of the crops in the bin. The province says yields and quality are above average this year, but more rain and snow is needed to restore soil moisture before spring. Well, Jeff, we've got a little bit of time before spring, but are we going to restore the moisture in the soil this weekend?
Well, you're not going to see much. There might be a hint of rain here and there, but we had a little bit of a system slide through Saskatchewan today, impacting a number of communities, and that system continues to move into southern Manitoba and into the States and other parts of the Midwest. But what we do have coming are some cool temperatures for Halloween, but then a warm up for the weekend. We'll talk about that later on.
The location of a new winter warm-up building was the source of plenty of debate at council chambers in Saskatoon. Council ultimately voted to buy this building on Avenue C next to the Salvation Army and have the building open by the end of November as a place for people to drop in and use the washroom. But business owners, councillors, the Salvation Army, and even city administration who chose the building were reluctant to approve the spot because of fears of concentrating services too closely. But with the nights getting colder, this was the best option in front of them.
Definitely the location was a concern for us going in, and remains a concern, and will be something that needs to be addressed.
The city is paying $800,000 for the property funded by the federal government. The Salvation Army says with all the efforts to help homeless people in Saskatoon, one key piece is missing. Major Gordon Taylor says all 3 shelters operating in Saskatoon are enhanced shelters, and there's a greater need for a basic shelter. A basic shelter would operate at night and be a place for someone to stay for one night. They can come back each night, but the shelter would stay closed for the day. An enhanced shelter has to provide 3 meals a day and requires the person to participate in case planning to get into a home. Taylor says many aren't ready for that.
It's a jump from rough sleeping to having to participate in an enhanced shelter expectation. I think a basic shelter would help some people move towards that and be prepared for that.
As they explore building a centralized hub of social services, Taylor feels the city should include a basic shelter as part of the plan. The provincial government has introduced its bill to amend its liquor regulations to allow tailgating at Roughrider home games.
The whole purpose of doing what we're doing today, we'll be doing a fulsome look. We'll be working with the riders. We will be coming up with a plan, and SLGA will be involved because there will be a special permit that's going to be issued for this.
Ideally, we'd like to have tailgating very similar to what you would see across the country here, what you see at other CFL cities, and what you see in other sports environments in the U.S.
The exact framework is still being finalized, but Reynolds says tailgates will be limited to season ticket holders and keep them within real property. Saskatchewan is one of 2 CFL markets that don't allow some sort of tailgating for their home games. With plans to pass the bill this fall session, the province hopes to enact the regulations in time for next season. When we come back, a kid-friendly activity from Prince Albert Childcare. Find out about the organization's first annual haunted house. Prince Albert Childcare Cooperative Association, also known as Prince Albert Childcare, is trying something new this year. I'm joined by Colleen Clark, the office manager. And Colleen, let's jump right in. What is the big news happening this week?
Well, the big news happening this week is we are doing a haunted house, very child-friendly, at our 6th Street location. The address is actually 199 6th Street East. Everything to do with the haunted house is totally kid-friendly. The decorations have been all made by the kids in their daycare. We're opening it up to sites during the day, so other daycares during the day can bring their kids and have them come and explore the haunted house. And then in the evening from 6:30 to 8:30 is open to the public. There is a $2 charge per person to come. They're looking at doing a little dance party downstairs, a little witch cauldron where the kids can make some potions, some tough trees where the kids can get in there and explore and just have a good time. That's what we're looking for.
And is that kind of like where you stick your hands in the spaghetti and the different sort of sensory? Okay,
absolutely.
Perfect. I was going to say, is there going to be a little station for that? Because that always is a pretty big highlight. What made you guys try this out for the very first time this year?
Well, we're looking at ways for funding to add to our programming is a big one. So we thought, this is something that people are always looking to do is go visit haunted houses during Halloween. So we thought we'd give it a try and see how it goes this year. And hopefully next year it'll be bigger and we'll just keep adding to it.
I have to think to myself, is that going to be kind of like a pregame? You go and get your haunted house and then try and knock off a few doors on your way home, or maybe you do the trick-or-treating first and then hit the haunted house.
Well, it is a Friday. So, I mean, it might be a little bit of both, a little bit of knock and come to the haunted house, and then go out and continue on. yeah, it's just kind of free for all. Like, I mean, it's not saying you have to be there for the full 2 hours. It's come and go as you please, and hopefully the kids will have a good time. It's more for the kids.
Perfect. Well, and you mentioned about the kids and the kids helping out with some of the decorations. That's pretty impressive. So tell us a little bit about Prince Albert Childcare. There are multiple locations around the city, plus the home location where the haunted house is going to be. But tell us a little bit more about your organization.
Prince Albert Childcare has been around for 50 years. I am not going to lie, I've only been with the organization for the last 3 years, but in the time I've been here, we've opened 2 more centers. So when I started, there was 3 locations. And then in the last 2 years, we've opened a location at St. John's. We've opened the new one, just brand new this year, at John Diefenbaker. Our standalone is on 6th Street East. And then we have a location at St. Michael's and one at King George.
Perfect. So growing is the game, and I guess with a growing city and lots of kids around, we need to have some good fundamentals for them, and a good, I guess, the right start is what I thought I read somewhere on the website. But that brings me to the next one. If people are looking for information, first about Prince Albert Childcare, but also about the event on Friday, where can they be directed to?
They can actually call our 6th Street location for more information. They can talk to Marcel. He's been the one that's been kind of organizing the whole ordeal. We are also on Facebook, Prince Albert Childcare. And they can also, our website is www.princealbertchildcare.ca.
Perfect. Well, I think that's going to do it. It's going to be an exciting Halloween as per usual, but Colleen Clark and the team at Prince Albert Childcare helping spookify things a little bit here for this Halloween. But thanks so much for joining us, and hope it's a great first haunted house night.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Still to come, Jeff has your weather for trick-or-treating and beyond, and later, research improving the outcomes for bone marrow transplant recipients. All right, Jeff, the witch's cauldron is brewing, and all the ghouls and ghosts are starting to break out of their sarcophagi or whatever it is.
Well, very good. Polysyllabic.
There you go. But what kind of weather are these ghosts and ghouls and witches going to see?
Ooh, it's going to be cool. Yeah, we got ourselves some cool ghoul weather because temperatures are going to be close to seasonal, John, but that's still cold. But the good news is, generally speaking, for Halloween, we are not talking about precipitation, so we don't have snow on the ground. And yeah, you know what? Maybe if you put maybe a sweater underneath your costume, you might be in a decent enough shape not to have to wear a parka or something like that. But we'll leave those decisions up to the moms. Okay, let's take a look and see what we've got going on. The low pressure center that we've been talking about for the last couple of days made its way through Saskatchewan and now sort of around the southeastern portion, or at least that's where it's anchored. And that continues to cycle down and make its way into the Dakotas and parts of the American Midwest and still be impacting parts of Manitoba. In behind it, it's not really a big high-pressure system that's building in. There'll just be a lack of lows, and so we're going to keep our eye on a big atmospheric river that is making its way to British Columbia, and some of that moisture may make its way into other parts of Saskatchewan, but central and southern areas we're not anticipating a lot. We do expect it to be quite windy, though, in southern Alberta, I believe, on Halloween Day itself. So we'll keep that in mind. And, of course, we are keeping our eye on all this active weather out in the eastern part of the United States and Canada. And the remnants of, not so much, yes, the remnants of Melissa, at least when it was a big-time hurricane, may actually impact some parts of Atlantic Canada. But certainly some of that moisture will get dragged in by the low that is in the United States and the Pacific, in the northeastern part of the U.S. Here is our futurecast. And as you can see, those pressure lines, those isobar lines getting really close together. As I mentioned, we're expecting windy conditions in Alberta, but not as windy here in Saskatchewan. In fact, those pressure lines don't really tighten up until latter part of the afternoon on the western border of the province along with Alberta. -5 degrees for Spiritwood overnight, -4 in the Battlefords, -2 in Candle Lake and Birch Hills and Rostern, -1 in Nipwood and Melfort. Many places dealing with cloudy skies or partly cloudy conditions. Then we roll into Halloween, where, as I mentioned, temperatures are a little below below seasonal, but not crazy cold. We have 1 degree with mainly cloudy skies in Spiritwood, 3 degrees in the Battlefords, mainly cloudy, cloudy in Candle Lake, and 1 degree cloudy, and 2 degrees in Birch Hills, Rostern, Melfort, and Nipawin. Here we go with the Gateway City. So -2 overnight, slight chance of showers changing to flurries, light and variable winds. So it's not going to stick around. And then we roll into Halloween, cloudy skies, winds out of the south at 15, just 2 degrees for a daytime high. So that's a couple of points below seasonal. And then look at this, 8 degrees on Saturday and Sunday. Sunday comes with a chance of showers. Sunday, sunny conditions to start the work week. And then 6 degrees on Tuesday, 4 on Wednesday, Thursday, 3 degrees. And that could be a bit of a messy day with a possibility of some rain or some snow or the combo platter.
And Jeff, the system is still working. Did you tune in last night to the Jays game? I
did. Well, I was helping on an event here in Saskatoon, but I, like a lot of people, were checking my phone, and it was pretty exciting.
Good result, and probably didn't have to stay up past midnight this time, because the Toronto Blue Jays, they now have a 3-2 lead in the World Series. They're taking that lead back to Toronto thanks to a great Game 5.
Here he comes, off and going Game 5 with a fastball that's hit in the air to deep left field. Call to the track. It's on the first pitch of Game 5.
Wasn't it?
On the very first pitch, and now Vlad Jr. hooks a ball down the left field line. They've got back-to-back to start Game 5.
Davis Schneider hitting a homer on the first pitch of the game. Then 2 pitches later, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit his franchise record 8th home run of the postseason. Pitcher Trey Savage struck out 12 Dodgers batters, a World Series record by a rookie. Game 6 is Friday night from Toronto. Both of the Blue Jays' World Series wins in 1992 and 1993 were clinched in Game 6. 2 Saskatchewan Roughriders are in the running for league awards this year as West Division nominees. Head coach Corey Mace is up for Coach of the Year, and Jamarcus Hardrick for Offensive Lineman of the Year. Mace leading the Green and White to the playoffs both of his seasons at the helm. This year, he's led the Riders to their first West Final home game since 2019. Hardrick and the rest of the offensive line only allowed 26 sacks this season, the 3rd lowest in the league. Meanwhile, the CFL's second best running back, A.J. Ouellette, had more than 1,200 yards on the ground.
You know, I think most coaches would tell you we would look at that as a team award, an organizational award, man. So much goes into it. Humble just to represent the organization.
Personal level, means a lot coming off an injury, getting back there. Didn't do it alone. Guys beside me, the coaches, sprint staff, everyone, but it means a lot in the grand scheme of things.
CFL award winners will be announced November 13th as part of the Grey Cup Festival in Winnipeg.
Do you have a community event you would like to promote? Or maybe you'd like to draw attention to your organization. Let your local CTV station help you spread the word. Contact us at 306-922-6020 or email panews@ctv.ca. You can appear on CTV Prince Albert's News at 5 and get your message to our viewers.
Bone marrow transplants have saved countless lives, but often come with life-changing consequences. As Martin McMahon reports, new research from BC Children's Hospital is providing new hope.
For childhood leukemia patients, bone marrow transplants are one of the few options available. And while up to 80 to 90% of those transplants are successful, there's a significant risk of chronic graft versus host disease, or GVHD.
When we transplant this brand new immune system in, it can reject the entire body. And that can actually, people die of that, or it can cause a chronic disease.
GVHD can lead to devastating consequences.
I've even had one adult say to me, if I had known what this disease, this chronic graft versus host disease was, I don't know if I would have had the transplant and be cured of my leukemia in the first place. I'm not sure the suffering I've had over these 10 years or 20 years is worth it.
But work from Schultz's team at the BC Children's Hospital Research Institute offers new hope. They've identified that GVHD has 3 subtypes, with early data showing one type responds to standard steroid treatment, while one doesn't.
Our goal is to not only get that cure rate and that cure from this type of therapy, but also to get it safe enough that people go on and have a completely normal life.
For parents like Katharina Sagan, who now works at BC Children's Hospital after seeing her own son go through childhood leukemia, this research provides hope.
Hope means that you will be able to get married, you will be able to graduate, you will be able to finish high school, university, drive, and do a lot of the things that normal young adults can do.
Sagan's son Bailey was actually treated by Dr. Schultz 20 years ago.
With a lot of the research that's coming out right now, it does give a lot of families a fighting chance and better outcomes.
As for Bailey, he survived childhood leukemia, even going on to play football for Vancouver College, with hopes this research will allow others to live similarly full lives. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
Brought to you by Saskatchewan Union of Nurses. Thank you to Saskatchewan's 11,000 registered nurses.
All right, Jeff, we've talked about it enough this week, but Halloween is tomorrow night, and a new poll is showing how many Canadians will be taking part in the fun. The poll, conducted on behalf of the Retail Council of Canada, found 3/4 of households across the country have bought candy for the big night, and about half of those have also bought a pumpkin. When it comes to putting up new decorations, the poll found 3 in 10 stocked up on decorations, and just 1/4 bought a costume this year. And that little last line there, buying a costume, Jeff, I don't know if this is maybe a sign of the times, but I don't think I ever in my life bought a costume.
Yeah, no. We had an amazing mother, and she would put together some fantastic costumes. So, no, I don't ever recall buying a costume. Maybe an accessory if you needed one.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I can't imagine how many times I was a hockey player or a football player or a fireman or just I think my favorite one was a Men in Black. I just wore a black jacket.
Exactly. Well, matching pants, I hope.
There
White
you go.
shirt, tie.
Yeah,
sunglasses? Come on, there you go.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see all those Halloween costumes tomorrow night.
All right, Agent John.